level 3, I forgot to choose which monk direction I was going. It's the Way of the Drunken Fist from.
I mean, I could kind of have predicted that one.
Yeah. So at the moment, all that means is I get if I use my ability to do a flurry of blows. I get an extra. I can disengage with an extra 10 feet of speed
of movement. Okay.
Of movement. I think it's like him staggering away. Drunkily, and I get proficiency in performance, but I've already got that, so not that it's been helping this entire campaign.
Can I ask a quick question about one of my spells?
Sure.
Actually, two of my spells now are bonus actions. Does anything else have to happen in a round for me to use that, or do I just say I've done that and now I'm going to do my bonus action, or is there something else that has to happen first?
You can cast. You can't cast if you cast a spell that's not an action. You can only cast a cantrip that turn.
Right.
So if you cast like Healing Word or something, which is a bonus action, your action spell must be a cantrip or an attack or something like that.
Right, okay, so I couldn't use like a first level spell and then another first level bonus action.
Technically, no, that would be.
Right, that's fine. It's just because I wasn't sure how it worked, but that's good to know.
But you can do. But a bonus action is just an extra thing you do. If you've got one, it doesn't take the place of anything else.
No, right.
As well as.
Okay, that's fine. Cause I just noticed that.
Yeah, you can attack or do whatever you need.
Right. So as long as I'm not using a proper spell as an action, I can use a bonus action.
You can't like cure wounds and then Healing Word. In the
sure.
same
Right.
turn.
Yeah.
And a bonus action happens on your turn.
Yeah.
A reaction happens.
Yeah, I don't think I have any reactions. That's fine.
I don't think you do as a priest.
I've got very bad reactions.
Yeah.
That's why you've got such good armor, so that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much a bonus action. My sheet's there. The only thing I've actually done is I've just updated the spell list with my level 3 spells.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
And wait, no, I've not. I've not done that. I will do that.
Fine.
But I took my ASI to 20 intelligence.
Yeah, and it seems my sheet actually didn't save when I sent it to you. So I'm trying to fix that.
Okay.
It's missing my...
it's not a huge deal. Just, it's helpful for me to have the stats when I plug stuff in for combat and whatnot. But I don't think we're going to get to
the stats are all the same.
Okay. Well, you didn't do your ability score increases.
No, I did. And it saved that. It just didn't save
it's just all the other stuff.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Well, we'll work on it and then...
I don't have level 3 spells. That's why they've not been done.
Not a level 4 you don't? No, it would be a level 5 thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go.
For some reason I thought we were level 5.
Steady, not yet.
Because I've been thinking about those bitching fireballs all week.
Sorry. There's been plenty of them hurled around, but
By the looks of it, I've not done my save DC or my spell attack. Oh yeah, yes I have. Never mind.
Okay.
I keep thinking my proficiency has gone up. I've got this level 5 thing in my head and I can't get rid of it.
We'll have to get you there. You're just so stuck on it.
I'll just have to be there.
I guess so.
So in that case, my sheet is correct.
Is up to date. Fantastic. Well then, let's get cracking, shall we?
Yes.
Excuse me. Good God, that is just a ridiculous.
All the dice.
I just like rolling them out. Sometimes I pack them away just to get them out again.
How many are there?
There's about 40 in this bag, I think.
Cripes. Okay. Judd has a problem. Someone report him.
Sometimes I just crush one up and do a good line of dice.
Okay. You know the drill, boys? Who did it last time?
Me.
Well, I attempted to, and
everybody else rolled a d20. Sonny, you're rolling this time because I know you were there last time.
2.
10 for Sonny.
8.
Come on.
Fuck. 13.
Well, there you go.
All right. We killed Welfer, and then we left. We did, didn't we?
No, we chopped off his hand and then he died. I don't think
was
we were.
essentially the same thing.
Cause and effects.
Cement.
I don't think we were responsible for his death entirely.
Let's see, and then, I believe Jordan got seduced by an evil spirit.
Are you going to say attractive lady?
And
He
then
wishes.
we killed the 2 Wendigos with the spirit. Let's see what else happened. We crashed the boat into the dock. I remember that. And then we are heading to Bastion to take the coin to. I forgot who we were taking it to over there.
The guys.
Somebody.
The Pavilion of Magic? Magic Pavilion?
Yeah. Sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
I'll get my notebook out.
Okay.
To the Master of the Wizard's Pavilion.
Yeah, that's the
There
one.
you go.
That would be it.
Very good. Thank you so much. Now, before we begin, Josh contacted me this week, and we did his inventory. He wanted to buy a couple things. Did anybody else want to go shopping? I know I said I would send lists out, but then I realized I couldn't be bothered. So I have a list here of what's in the market. It's already typed, but I didn't want to retype it to send it. So does anybody want anything? And I will tell you if you can have it. I know
I'm
that's
good.
not the greatest, but...
Sonny
I
would
didn't-
like some alcohol for a 5-day trip.
Okay. He can have it for 1 gold piece. Alcohol's pretty cheap.
Done.
Right, there you go. Subtract that from your total. Did everybody also have a chance to look at the methods of transport?
Yes, briefly. Where did it go? Is it in general?
It's in general, I think. Yep, there it is. Just because you guys are going to in-game, you'll talk about it, but I just want to make sure we were all on the same page. Great. So,
Yes.
Where did we leave off? So where we left off last time was that you'd reconvened after Sunny and Valoran, I believe it was, tried to get into Welfer's house and didn't work out so well at all. And Thalar and Giornan had gone to... Where were you?
I don't remember.
We were shopping, that was our thing.
Yeah, I think
That's
we were
right.
shopping,
You guys
yeah.
went shopping. So that worked out for you then, pretty well.
And we
So
went
you-
and we picked up some ale for
That's
Yeah.
very kind.
Yeah, for something.
And so you've reconvened same day. You've reconvened in the covered market. You're all together now, and it's probably 2-3 p.m.
Well, I guess we better head down to the docks then if we're travelling by... Well, how are we travelling to Baston? Is it... What was the name we came up with eventually? Baston?
Baston is correct. Yes.
Okay. I'm fine with taking the river barge.
Yeah, I quite fancied the barge. What could go wrong?
I mean, the only problem is that 5 days is a long time, and that gives them more opportunity... That gives the world more opportunity to attack us.
I mean, it's not... The world isn't, like, plotting our downfall here, mate.
You don't know.
Glacier might be, but I don't think the world does.
I happen to know there's a voice in the sky somewhere. But-
It's just your imagination. If you want me to recommend you a good healer...
Oh, shots fired.
Ow. Yeah, but 5 silver pieces per person is what I saw listed somewhere.
Yeah, that's nothing.
That's nothing. We just looted loads from that. From selling all that jewelry.
I mean, I'm happy with whatever. I'm not interested in serving as crew. So I think we
Yeah.
decided river barge, did we?
I think we can take the river barge.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm far too important to serve as a rower
How did I know you were going to say that?
because you know how important I am.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's head down to the docks then.
Yeah.
Sounds perfect.
As you head down towards the docks, you notice that there's a change in the weather, and everybody around you notices it as well. You may remember last time that Drury had mentioned that there hadn't been any wind in Isti for a very long time, and that was, it's not important as to why. This is not important. But all of a sudden, as you're walking down towards the docks, you feel a very strong, brisk wind strike up, and it's flowing inland, coming off the sea. And the whole market town gives up a great cheer. Everybody's really excited to see that this wind is blowing, but it's very, very strong. It's about sort of 20 knots. It's really it's quite something. And smaller creatures like gnomes and halflings are struggling a bit against it, but everybody's pretty enthused to see that the wind has come back. And it blows and it blows, and it's pretty relentless, but it's going pretty strong. And as you walk through it, as larger creatures, you have very little difficulty. But as you walk through it down towards the docks, you see a thrum of activity where once the previous sailing ships had ignored, taking on people or doing any sort of business because they couldn't go anywhere. Now people are throwing up riggings and hoisting sails and getting ready to sort of make way and get under sail towards Baston. So the docks are thrumming with activity, and you see all kinds of craft. You see large passenger barks with room for dozens of people. You see smaller little barges that are punting along with sticks, and you see everything in between.
So, do we see a river barge anywhere?
You do, yeah. There's a river barge. It's small and reddish, sort of like a rusty red. It's low to the ground. Picture one of those sort of long, flat, narrow boats that you might find in the UK, but one of the bigger ones.
Like a canal boat?
Like a canal boat.
Like a big canal boat, but there's like the double wide ones.
Let's see if we can hail the captain.
Go for it.
So,
hello there! Is there a captain here?
And out from the barge pops the same gnome that you met earlier, that brought you back towards Broadford when you were running away from the Wendigos. His name...
Hey, buddy!
And he looks at you and he says, "Oh, hello again."
Hello, good to see you.
Yes, I'm glad that you're all right. How...
Does he have a name?
Why didn't you ask?
Oh, did we not get your name last time? I'm Giornan of Giornan's Fabulous Adventuring Group.
Pleasure to meet you. My name's Saltor, and this is my wife. And he bangs on the boat, and a gnome woman pops her head up and says, "Oh, hello, good to see you."
Good day, my lady.
Hello.
And your wife's name is?
This is Orsis.
Well, okay.
So, Saltor, we're looking for passage to Baston.
We can pay this time, my friend.
Yes, we don't need your charity this time. We'd love to pay you.
Well, all right. That's not a problem. I'm heading down towards there. Now, I'm sure you know that Baston's not on the water, but I can take you as far as the docks that, you'd take you to the road that you'll take to get to Baston.
That's fine. I mean, I knew that. Obviously.
We all knew that.
Yeah, we were well aware. But yeah, just as close as you could get us,
And what's the price, my good man?
Well, I tell you what, for you fine gentlemen that I've got such a fine relationship with, I'll take a mere 5 silver pieces a head.
I think that's fair.
Excellent.
Okay, I will give him 1 gold piece, and that should cover all of us, won't it?
I think so. Is that right?
Yeah, that should be more than enough, actually, because 5 silver pieces is...
You got a tip.
No, it's not enough, because 10 silver pieces is 1 gold piece. So you need to give him... So you've just given him enough for you and 1 other person.
I'll chip in the extra 1 there.
And you're still 1 short. Oh no, you're only 4. Never mind, sorry.
Yeah.
You're only 4.
And can we ask him, will we be sharing the journey with anyone else?
No. It's it'll just be you and my wife and me, and we're gonna make way pretty soon. Actually, you came at a good time. So, do you have anything you need to get before we push off?
You wouldn't happen to know anyone by the name of Glacier, would you?
And he sort of sits back and he scratches his chin. He said, "I knew a Glaston about 10 years ago."
Good enough for me. Let's go.
Oh, okay, yeah, great. All right, off we go. And he loads you in, and there's you make your way below decks, and there's not much. It's pretty simple. It's a little open iron sort of hearth one of those little pot-bellied stoves and a couple bits, and then he takes you down and he starts unpacking something from a cupboard, and he says, "We don't really have much in the way of passenger amenities. We don't get many guests, but here, I've got some of these." And he hands you four big pieces of canvas, and he leads you down a little further down the barge, which is only about 40 feet long. And he says, "Here you go," and he shows you these hooks on the ceiling, and what you're holding is in fact a hammock. And you have to hang your hammocks, and you'll all be sort of sleeping in a hammock on this barge as it makes its way up the river. And he says, "I don't expect you guys to, you're paying your way, so I don't expect you to work, but it's a 5-day journey, so if you get bored, I'm happy to show you some of the ropes, I can show you what it's like to navigate on a river and some of the stuff we got, but it's your journey. You guys do what you like. And anyway, get all set up, and I'll be above." And he sort of toddles off, and he shuts the door behind him, and you're now alone in the ship.
Okay.
I really struggle to put up my my hammock. It's not something I do often. The Mage Guild did not train us for this, so I will sit back and just watch other people first. So
I will go over to Sunny. Sunny, I can't quite reach the hooks. Could you maybe take my canvas and hang it up there for me?
Of course. Sonny's quite nimble. He's more than happy to do that.
Thank you, Sunny.
Shimmy on up. Hook things up for everyone.
How I'm going to get up there is anyone's guess, but
I will cast Mage Hand and put up my my thing after watching Sunny do one or two of them. I think I can understand how it works, and I'll cast Mage Hand and I'll sit back and let it do it.
Okay. That's perfectly valid use of Mage Hand.
So 5 days.
Yep, so 5 days. So now you've got, in game terms, you've got the next 5 days, which won't take 5 sessions worth of game time, because God knows I can't be bothered to do that. But you've got 5 days, and what you've got is the access to the run of the ship. It's relatively small, and you've got 5 days on the water. And so, as Saltor said, what each of you can do is take this as some downtime each day. You'll have the opportunity to do, you can do whatever you want. So Jornan or Thalar could meditate and pray and do some magic stuff, or, Valoran can, practice stabbing some fish with a spear. Sunny can get drunk. But you can also use Saltor and Orsis to learn skills, to learn their language, to learn how to navigate a boat on a river, or, it's relatively open world, but we'll take the next maybe 10, 20 minutes and just talk about what you guys would like to do over these 5 days and how you go about achieving that and what that looks like.
Sunny, his backstory is about him travelling to learn new recipes of different alcohols, so you might want to consult the captain and ask him if he's familiar with any local booze where he comes from, anything he would recommend, any recipes he knows.
Yes, he says, well, I'm not the guy to ask, but I tell you what, Orsis she's a master chef, and she really knows her stuff, and she makes some old brew from back home where we're from, in our gnomish village, and it is really something. It's just, flour kind of wine, but it's really good on a hot day, so I go talk to Orsis.
Okay, I'd love to do that.
And so you go and talk to Orsis, who is a very lovely lady. For a gnome woman, she's very short, of course, but she's also sort of plump with middle age and warm. And she teaches you how to make this flower wine with local wildflowers that she's gathered on the banks of whatever river she's moving down. And she doesn't have time in 5 days to show you exactly how it goes from start to finish, but she sort of explains the methods and she shows you some of the finished product. And with your knowledge of alcohol, you now sort of understand.
Yep.
How to do it. And what that then means in game terms is that you now have the ability, if you're ever near a riverbank, to brew as much alcohol as you want, given a receptacle that you would have to put it in.
Yep. I think I've got a brewer's kit.
Yep.
And the last thing I guess I would just want to talk to her about was what kind of traditions and when would this be drunk, just in case I'm ever in a situation where that might come in handy, meeting other gnomes or something like that.
Yeah, and so she explains to you that This is it's just a traditional sort of gnomish brew. It's a pretty everyday thing, but there's special kinds of it that use other rarer ingredients. Honey is harder to come by if you're not a cultivating beekeeper, especially if you're foraging in the wild, because there's the possibility, especially as a small person, that some bee stings could really do you in. So if you honey it, then it's always considered in their culture a particularly valuable or fine vintage of this particular kind of wine. And so knowing that, you could really, if you ever encountered a gnome that you wanted to impress, you could brew something like this and put the honey in it and make it sort of a very impressive gift.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thalar was interested in the language you mentioned. You mentioned studying languages. Thalar is obviously into study, into getting to know how to communicate with people. So I'm assuming they speak Gnomish.
Yes, well, they speak Common, of course, but they also speak fluent Gnomish, yes.
So I'm just wondering how much Gnomish I could learn from them, given that it says here that Gnomish is also written in the Dwarvish script, so I can already read it, but I just don't know how to speak it or actually use the language, so...
Yeah. So I suppose you would already have, I guess, a passing academic understanding of the pronunciation of it, only because it's written in the same script. But you wouldn't have an idea of any of the grammar. And Saltor and Orsis are in absolutely no way professional educators. So what they do end up doing is just teaching you some key phrases, and through sort of your bringing to bear some educational portions by saying, like, okay, so how would you say this and how would you say that? I think that Thalar would probably know how to glean some conjugations and some grammar out of them, even if they aren't aware that they're teaching it. And so what that means for Thalar now is in 5 days, I would say you've learned sort of rudimentary, pretty introductory Gnomish, but you could, ask where things are and go to the bathroom and buy yourself some food and travel around. And I think that if someone suddenly put you in the center of a Gnomish village, in very broken Gnomish, you could probably find your way to... You kind of get around, but you certainly wouldn't be able to entreat the leader for, some sort of complex thing. But you can find the toilet and buy a beer.
Okay, I'll take it. That'll do.
I think for Lauren, he's always interested in traveling the world, so I think he'd take you up on taking up Saltor on learning how to operate a barge and going up rivers.
So you spend 5 days learning with Saltor sort of the tricks of the trade. Now, Saltor is specifically a river bargeman. He doesn't go on the high seas because his barge is steered either downriver by means of just a till, and following the current, and upriver by means of an enormous punting pole that he can use to try and push his way up the river. Now, normally it takes a bit longer, but because of the wind at his back, it's actually a bit easier because it doesn't have a sail. This barge doesn't have a sail, but it is kind of aided by the wind. So what he teaches you to do in these 5 days is not only how to handle the punt, to maneuver the boat and try and make it as easy as possible to avoid eddies and currents, but also how to read the river and read the way that the land shapes the rivers, and to understand, even if you weren't in this particular area, you could probably get a good idea from this on just how to navigate. He doesn't get the opportunity to show you how to go downriver because you're not headed that direction. But I would say that Valoran can now take proficiency for steering river craft.
All right. I'll take it.
That might come in handy.
Okay.
You're all doing your little nerd stuff. I'm going to spend a couple of days just checking my spell book, my new one, copying out the spells I know. It'll cost me some gold, and I'll tell you how much it is in a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't have enough for all of them, so I'll have to pick some of my more versatile spells, and I will tell you how much it is. So basically, I'm spending it in study.
Okay.
And finally, Sonny has he carries around cartographer's tools, so I just wants to consult the captain on the lie of the river, where the worst currents are, what dangers, how he navigates up and down the river, anything special that he would point out on a map.
Sure. So he spends sort of dual time with you and with Valoran. Valoran's sort of learning how to steer and how to maneuver the boat, and he's, at the same time that he's calling out how to do that, he's also showing you both of you, sort of what to look for in the river, with more emphasis for Sonny on sort of the geography of how how it all works, and especially this area, because he spent most of his life going up and down this 5-day trek back and forth, taking things to and up and down the countryside. By the third or fourth day, he's actually sitting pretty because he's got Valoran steering, navigating. So he's just kind of kicking back, drinking his flower wine, and he's pretty chuffed about the turn of events. And so for Sunny, I don't have a map that is bigger than the one that I've already given you of the world, but I would say that you get a very good understanding of Inisti and some of the local biomes and some of the local climates to be expected, and because of that, you can then, after 4 or 5, really a sense that something's not quite right in Inisti, because this wind that we were talking about, this consistent sort of quite strong wind that's blowing inland, is relentless, and it's it's unidirectional. It's not changing at all, and it hasn't let up in 4 or 5 days. And the whole journey, it's just been consistently blowing and blowing and blowing. And from what you've learned from Saltor, this is unusual because as the river twists and turns, you would expect it either to dip or die or change direction, but it's just blowing straight dead towards your destination, straight towards Bastion. So it's just a bit strange. You don't have an explanation for it, and Saltor doesn't seem terribly concerned. He's at its back, and it's helping him out, but you do notice that that's not quite right.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't suppose any of the wizards' magical users on board are picking up anything strange in the wind, magical-wise?
I mean,
I won't notice.
I mean, I feel like I would have noticed, but I don't know in terms of character how one would check such a thing.
There's something called a nature check.
Yeah, all right.
But what would I be doing to what would I be?
I guess Sonny would mention it to you that from what I've learned from the captain, this wind isn't normal. He, it's unrelenting. It's strange.
Can I, as we're going down, if this is, I will look at the trees around, because if there's a prevalent wind, they'll obviously grow to one direction, and any of the growth that we pass, I'll have a look at that and see, and just how weird this wind is. And failing that, I'll speak to Saltor about it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a nature check.
That'll be 10.
A 10. Well, tell you what, take advantage on it, because Sunny's been helping you out, cluing you into some of the stuff that he's learned.
19. Thank you.
That's pretty good. So using your intel, that sort of what I already explained to Sunny. There's a certain way that the land is shaped, right? There's hills and vales, and you're at the center of this. You're at the very bottom of any valley. But there's the land changes as you go through it in 5 days. This is an older river, and you can tell because it bends and bows back and forth. It's not really a straight line. But as you twist and turn, you can tell that there would be a way that the trees would grow, and there would be a way that the land would be shaped by wind in these canyons, and especially over a long period of time. And you can tell, based on these observations and then the observations of the wind that you see, that this is not normal. You don't have necessarily a sense of whether or not it's supernatural or whether or not it's just a really weird weather pattern, because you don't really have enough information to determine that. But you can pick up on the sense of what Sunny said, which is that this is definitely strange and abnormal, and perhaps not necessarily cause for concern, but definitely something that make you sort of sit up and notice it and keep an eye on it. Okay. Yeah. So unless there's anything else.
No, I'm all good.
Nope. Great. So after 5 days, you've sort of wended your way, you've made your way inland quite a bit, and eventually you reach this bustling port, which is, it's not really a port per se, it's a small little outcropping, and there's a few docks, which would normally just sort of be a warehouse and a receptacle for offloading cargo that would then be put onto wagons and taken to Bastion, a day's walk inland, but by wagon, not that far. And as you get to the port, you notice that instead of having a couple ships that would then be traveling back and forth, it's absolutely chocked full of ships. It's overflowing. It's rammed with boats, and you realize as you pull in, of course, that you actually haven't seen any boats going down the river the other way this whole time. And it seems like it's because they're all here at this one port, just sort of stacked 3 abreast, one on top of the other. They're really having trouble finding a place to park. And Saltor swears when he sees it, he's really unhappy because it's going to be pretty tricky trying to find a place to offload his cargo, which is some simple wares that he's picked up and down the river that he's going to sell at the port, as well as parked so that he can let you guys off. And as he's coming in, he eventually finds a really tight spot, and he bangs up the ship a couple times, and he's not terribly happy about that. But he does manage to maneuver it into a place which isn't comfortable, but is acceptable. And he says, "Right, well, that sucked, but thanks so much. You guys have been great. I hope that you enjoyed your journey, and if you ever find yourself on this river again, you know where to find me. Best of luck in Baston. Let me know how you get on."
Thank you,
very much,
Saltor.
Thank you, Saltor.
You're a good man.
And he
You've once again been just the person we needed to find.
he nods gratefully and collects his things and his wife, and they make their way through into the authority to register their boat as sort of parked at the docks and pay their fees. And you see at this port, you look across and you see all these boats and a lot of very angry and sort of frustrated sailors. And then leading away from the port is a well-traveled, well-worn road with some oxes and wagons kind of going to and from it. And just by sort of knowledge of the area and deduction, you can tell that this is the road to Baston.
About how far are we off from Baston?
From your chats with Saltor and your sort of planning of the journey, you could tell that if you walk on foot, it'd be a day's walk. You hire a creature or a wagon or whatever, and you obviously faster. But you could walk there in a day. So about 20-25 miles.
I feel like we're cheap enough to walk.
You might be.
Unless... Okay. Oh, yeah, of course, we got Wizard here.
But first, are there any, just idle duckhands about that we might...
Yeah, I mean, you see some younger, sort of late teen kind of kids that normally would be helping to move things and run about and sort of be general dog spotties. And they're
a youth is kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, a youth, sort of a wanton youth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, hey, you boy, I've got some gold. If you can tell me, why is it so busy?
And he says, well, how much gold?
2 gold.
Oh, well, okay. Show me the money.
I will get 1 gold out, or 2 gold out, and I will keep 1 in my hand, and I will give him 1.
And he takes it and he says, well, that's the easiest gold piece I've ever made.
Right.
You know the wind that's blowing. You see the wind, yeah?
Yeah, we've noticed the wind.
Yeah, so the way the boats work is the wind pushes them in one direction, and it's so strong that they can't go back out. So they're stuck here. And he puts out his hand for the other gold piece.
Give him the gold piece.
You're... I will scowl at Taylor, and I will obviously give him the piece. But
and he takes it and tucks them both away in his pocket.
That
Thanks, mister.
Information. Have you got anything else going about town? Because 2 gold was a lot for it's windy.
Hey, you're the one that offered it. You could have made that deduction on your own. But no, I got no other gossip for you. We got a whole bunch of people stuck here, but all the action's back in Baston. I live nearby. So, no, I got nothing for you. It's pretty quiet. I mean, it's busy here, but not much is going on. Everyone's just kind of pissed that they're stuck.
Well, I'm kind of pissed that they're stuck now because I paid for it.
And he laughs and walks away.
Right, okay.
You couldn't tell it was the wind.
I study unnatural phenomena, my friend. This is your area, isn't it? Nature and all that voodoo.
Well, if you'd offered me 2 gold, I would have told you.
Touche.
So,
I still don't want to walk.
okay. Do we see any carts or horse and carts or wagons that look like they have some space on them?
I mean, there's all
Around
kinds of like wagons and stuff around. It's it's kind of it's not a town, but it is like a port, a dock, sort of. It's the dockyards, and so there are sort of oxen-covered wagons that are going to and fro, and there's tons of them around. So you get the sense that there's going to be one that you could probably either hire or hitch a ride with if you just kind of wait around. There's going to be a few passing through the way.
Okay, well. Yep, I will go up and approach a wagon that looks like it would be up for hire, if I can see such a thing in front of me.
And so you approach this larger wagon that looks like it would seat 4, and it's pulled by a single ox. And as you get a bit closer, an old dwarven man comes around from the other side with a cane, and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing? Get away from my wagon!"
Well, I'm sorry, sir. We were just looking some travel into Baston there. I don't suppose you happen to be going that way anytime soon.
Baston, well, yeah, I'm heading there later today. But you gotta make it worth my while.
Yes, but well, in that case, how much would it cost to get to Baston from here?
And he scratches his beard and he says, "How much is it worth to you to get to Baston in my nice wagon?"
Well, seeing as we've just paid, how much was it to travel for 5 days down a river?
It was five,
2 gold overall, wasn't it?
half a gold piece. So it's not going to be too much to get up, is it?
So, what we say?
2 gold pieces.
One
Maybe.
well, one
I
gold
s-
for
I
all.
say
Excuse
one.
me, old man. How about you tell us how much it costs?
Yeah.
And we can pay it.
Well, normally for such adventurers such as I'd charge a gold piece a head.
Right. Well, we will find a different caravan.
But now, but I tell you what, you guys seem like nice kind of guys, and we're heading the same direction, so maybe I'll cut you a deal. Maybe I do 2 gold pieces for the lot of you. That's half off. That's pretty good.
I know your taste for gold. I know you're my brethren. I know what you're doing here. We'll give you 1 gold, take us into town, and I'll keep you in my prayers.
Okay, yeah, you go ahead and roll a persuasion check to see if that works.
I'll do that.
I liked it.
I will give him advantage on that by offering some
Oh, yeah.
alcohol as well to sweeten the deal, quite
Okay,
literally.
yeah, go ahead, roll it with advantage there.
Oh,
Say
thank
like-
God. 11.
Right, he gratefully grabs the booze that Sonny offers him and says, "You can keep your prayers, but I'll take the booze. Let's go. 1 gold piece."
Thank you, sir. What's your name, by the way?
Me, I'm Hrothgar.
Hrothgar. Nice to meet you. I'm Thalar.
And he sort of nods and hops up on the driver's seat of the wagon.
Right.
And are we travelling alone, Roughgar, or is anyone else joining us?
No, it's just you and me and old Bess here. And the ox goes,
Seems like he's a little too familiar with that ox.
Yeah, I don't know. This is on point though. So are we leaving now then?
Yeah, he's ready and raring to
We're
go.
gone. We're okay.
All right.
Hi ho silver.
So you all hop
Bess.
in the wagon,
Yep.
and you start making your way, and it doesn't take very long because you're sort of trudging along, and this ox is pulling the cart. So you get there. By the time you pulled in at the sort of earlier morning. By the time you get there, it's the later afternoon, maybe 5 or 6 p.m. And as you get closer and closer, you see the walls of Baston approaching, and they're sort of large city walls with a gate, and the gate's wide open. And you see the guards on either side of the gate. And as you walk through, you're in this sort of main street, and houses and shops and other buildings line your path as you come down through the north entrance. And as you've come in, you've passed not only a few farms and whatnot, but you could also see on the outskirts of the city, outside the city walls, there were some slums, poorer areas. But as you come through, you come down this main road and you make your way down to one of the market squares. There's many that you can sort of see in the area, but you come to one of them. and you the ox comes to a stop, and Hrothgar says, "Right, this is where I leave you. Have a great time," and he lets you all out.
Bye.
Thanks, Hrothgar.
And he gives a friendly wave, and and off Bess goes, and he disappears into the thrum of the city. And so you've got the lay of the land. You look around this market, and you can tell that this market, which once looked like it's a decent sized marketplace, but it looks like it used to be quite thriving and lively. But the people there's not as many people as you can see. The stuff that's on sale, there's not very much. It's pretty sparse. People are looking pretty sad. There's sort of it's a very stressful atmosphere, and you can sense the sort of plight of these people, which is that there was no wind for a really long time, and so trade was cut off. And then now all of a sudden there's some hope, but then also people can't leave, so it's a very one-directional flow, and so people are getting hungry, and there's goods are scarce, and so people are beginning to feel the strain of this blight of weather and the effect that it's having on the city, and people seem a bit down.
Okay.
Well, we need to find the Wizard's Pavilion.
Let's ask somebody. Town guard?
There's a few sort of stationed around the marketplace.
Before we go find anyone, I'm just gonna say, right, well, these people we're going to see, they're my people. And if you think I can be a bit short at times, you should try crossing others of my training. It doesn't take for fools lightly. However, just know that taking a wrong step here could be disastrous for our health. But they should, and they will, if we ask correctly, offer us all the help they can.
Well, Thander, help us all. You better do the talking then.
Shit. That was not what I meant. But
Too bad.
You do
yeah,
technically lead us.
Yeah.
You don't think they'll listen to a drunken old monk then?
Well, out of the God Botherer and the drunk, I think maybe best do some other talking. In that case, we're going to need a tailor. So
tailor?
We'll stop a guard, and I will ask for a tailor and the Wizard's Pavilion.
Alex?
Oh, was that you doing the thing? I thought you were still talking in character.
No, well, that was me talking in character. In character, I'm going to find a guard.
Great. So you grab the nearest town guard. There's a few of them ringed around the square, and he sort of tenses up when he sees you walking over. Sort of your purpose is, and he says, "Yes."
I've just come off from a few days of travelling, and my retainers and I look a little worse for wear. We require an inn and a tailor, and I need to visit the arcane mines of the city. I'd like to find the Wizard's Pavilion, please.
And he says, "Okay, okay. So you're standing in the marketplace, you're sitting in the Midtown Market, and here you go. So you've got the textile district that way," and he points, and you've made your way through several layers of city wall, and he sort of points out of one of the layers, and he says, "On the other side of the wall, you go around, there's a whole textile tannery district. So you go over there, you find yourself someone picks you up with that." And he says, you go a bit south from there, and you'll find yourself a whole bunch of inns and things, depending on how cheap or expensive you're looking for. There's all kinds. And then he points the other direction, completely the opposite direction, up on the top of a hill, behind yet another wall. You see some taller, older-looking buildings, and he says, "And the Wizard Pavilion's right in the middle of the old town there."
Brilliant. So thank you for your assistance, good man. Go about your day. Good day.
And he sort of looks you up and down like you didn't need to tell me to do that, and walks away.
Sonny just lets John know that he has a disguise kit and he's proficient with it in case he needs any help with his outfit.
Can we make the Godbrother stand out a little less?
I'm sure. I think with enough time, Sonny could probably whip up everybody the correct attire if we get the materials.
What are you trying to hide me for? All I'm doing is wearing armor. I've got armor and a shield.
Right. Well, so we'll find an inn and say. Oh, in fact, I'll go see a tailor first. And what do we need? We're gonna have to look, if not upper class, at least respectable enough to gain an appearance with these people.
Well, if you buy one outfit,
if I get a set of robes or two, and you can spruce us up a little bit,
I can counterfeit some more if we can buy the materials from the textile district.
Right.
If you choose.
Didn't we find some robes in the tomb?
They were all moth-beat. Yeah, they were.
They did. They were out of fashion, and they were. I'm guessing they probably wouldn't pass for looking trendy and
it would bring too much attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I will go find a tailor, please.
So you make your way out the way you came, down the main thoroughfare, and then out of one of the layers of the city gates, and you're now in sort of the outer ring, or the outer section of the city. And you walk down, and you find yourself in the middle of this textile district, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. There's tanneries that are making the leather, and it smells absolutely awful. And there's dye works that are creating the cloth, and then sort of a couple blocks over from there, you then have the people that are processing them into clothes, and you see a bunch of different signs, and you find yourself in front of a modest shop, and it just says Flint Whirl at the top of it in simple lettering, and inside you can see a young halfling woman who's sort of running about keeping shop.
I'd just like to say Sonny would like to accompany John and to observe the how the tailor does it, because that might be useful later on.
Yep.
Yeah, I think are we all there? Are we all coming along?
Why not?
Yeah.
Excuse me, woman. Would you be the Flint Twirl of that the sign speaks of?
And she turns around, and she's portly but kind, and she says, I am Githa Flintwhirl.
My good woman. I absolutely must get out of these clothes. I've been travelling for far too long, and frankly, I'd look a mess. I don't require the best things straight away, but I must have a change of clothing. It's been a long few days. If you could help with that, I would be much obliged, and I'm very willing to patronise your service, or at least come back and sort myself a new wardrobe out.
And she sort of she nods and says, "All right. Why don't you go and pick out a fabric, and we'll make something up." Well, and she gestures over to the wall, and it's full of bolts of different styles of weaving and colors of fabric, from the very simple undyed cloth to the extremely ornate woven, very sumptuous, very well dyed cloth. And you can, there's sort of a range of stuff depending on how much you're willing to pay.
Sonny.
Well, the issue is, my good woman, I've been out of town for a very long time. I honestly, I feel awful admitting this, but I wouldn't know what the local fashions were. Would you be able to assist in that? I need to visit the Wizard's Pavilion, and they're going to laugh at me like this, but it's quite an important matter.
And she sort of smiles knowingly, and she's, "It's the Wizard Pavilion you'll be in, and to the left-hand side of the wall, and the left-hand side is where all the most expensive fabrics are."
Okay.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
I'll look through a few of these.
So you see a variety. Some are dyed dark purple with some gold embroidery. Some are verdant green. There's a very sapphire blue. The characteristics of the ones on the left-hand side are that they are very, very sharply, very boldly colored, with what appear to be very expensive and well manufactured dyes.
Yeah. I don't want to ask the woman, but is there a price around?
You can't. I mean, you can tell that these are the most expensive, but there isn't a price posted next to the bolts like per yard.
I'll just is the woman next to us, or is she still at like the other side?
She's
of the shop?
she's sort of tottering around over by the back of the shop where her sort
I'll
of
just
tables are.
motion Sonny over. Just
Okay.
to come stand there.
Yep. Sonny heads
This-
over.
I'll just whisper. This is going to cost us a fortune. Do you think you might be able to whip up something like this with a few days' time and a little slightly cheaper resources?
Yep. So Sonny, would you?
And
I guess from a DM's point of view, perception or something like that to see how much information I can gather from the materials I'm touching and inspecting.
I would do an investigation check.
Okay, investigation. Oh no, 5.
Yeah. So you look at it and you can tell that the fabrics that have been recommended are of a sort of masterful quality that you know that you could not replicate with. Maybe if you had a very long time, but certainly not a couple of days.
Yeah. So I'll relay that to John and ask. No, these are beyond my abilities. Maybe if we had 2 weeks and enough time to get the materials, but no, not in such short notice.
I was afraid of that. What did the woman say her name was? I've forgotten.
Githa.
Githa, that's one. Githa, my good lady. How much for a set of robes like these?
And she looks. What are you holding?
Just whatever looks moderate but cheap from the wizard's robes.
Yeah, she looks and she says, "How complex of robes? How many layers? What are you looking for?"
What's the fashionable cut these days? As I say, I've been out in the wilderness for far too long, and down the left-hand side, triple-breasted was the last fashion. But
And
you know how these things change.
Chuckles and she says, "Wow, you have been gone a while." Yes. So you 2 layers, nothing fancy. An underrobe and then an overstole should be sufficient for your fashionable purposes. And with that fabric, it'll cost you. She sort of counts on her fingers, 100 gold pieces.
Not a problem. I'll happily take that.
And she says, "Great, come over here and we'll get you measured."
So yeah, I'll go get measured.
Yep. So she spends deftly with nimble and masterful fingers. She whips out one of those soft tape measures and sort of takes all of your measurements and scribbles them down. And she says, "Come back tomorrow morning and I'll have it done."
Fantastic. That'll tide me by for now. Thank you very much, my good lady.
And she sort of nods and then sets to work, starting to snip some of the fabric that you've ordered.
Well, if this is our plan, I guess we're going to have to wait for that, so we might as well find the inn.
Yeah, we'll find somewhere to stop for the evening.
Yep. So off you go out of the shop, and the bell rings behind you as you leave. And the sun's beginning to get low in the sky, and so you find your way to. You sort of wend south the way that was recommended, and you pass through. You pass by the barracks, the town barracks, and then eventually down into through the guild sort of district, and you find an inn there, just sort of tucked away in the back of an alley, a semi-respectable looking place, and it's got a sign hanging outside it, a wooden sign, and it's the head of a fox, and it says LL's Fox over the insignia, and you can hear a moderate amount of sort of hustle and bustle coming from within.
Could, when we get inside, can Sonny have a look around to see if there's any wizards drinking in there of a similar size to Gianna?
Yes, you can. I assume you all go in.
Should we go in?
Yep. So you all duck in under the lower door, and it's an older. You can tell it's an older inn, older than Drury's, but still patroned well. It's got low, sort of beamed ceilings. It's got a fireplace at the opposite end, which is crackling away, and only 8 tables. It's a bit smaller, and there's a few different people, but it's not quite like Broadford. Broadford had all manner of races and creed, and as an adventurer's hub because it was closer to the coast. But this inn is mostly, it looks like mostly tradespeople, mostly humans, not too many, and a couple dwarves, not too many other sort of more exotic races. Sonny, you look around and you don't see any wizards. And after you look around, you kind of get the sense that this might not necessarily be the place that a lot of wizards would hang out. And behind the bar, sort of buffing it with a cloth, is the proprietor himself, LL Twilightwood, a middle-aged man. He's got piercings all down one side of his face, in what look like organized and sort of symbolic spots, and got kind of jewelry that looks like it's not just body art. And he's got a shaved head, and he sort of nods at you as you enter, and awaits for you to either come over to the bar or join somebody. He's waiting to see what you're going to do.
Well, we're going to need a room. Or more than one, at least. Lauren, you do it.
Huh? Oh, sorry, my mic's muted. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
we need rooms.
I'll go. His name's Twilight. You said
His name's LL. Here, I'll type it. His name is.
I was thinking like LL Cool J or something
I
like
was
that.
I was thinking, do the ladies love Cool James?
Because that's how I written. I just wrote LL on my notes.
Yeah, that's
Quite
fine.
nearly.
I got it.
Okay. Well, I will go up to LL and
Cool J.
introduce myself. Good evening, sir. My name's Valoran, and I was wondering how much it is to get a room here.
And he says, 1 room, 1 silver piece.
That's moderate. I think we can handle that.
Fairly fine.
Yeah, you'll be needing to sort out your own dinner.
And is there a menu today?
He says, no, you're not here.
Oh, I get
You'll
you.
have to go get your own dinner. All we do here is alcohol.
I'm drunk.
Yeah, surely you come across this. Well, that's fine. I guess we can go forage somewhere.
Can you recommend anywhere to get some...
Could you recommend a good inn?
Don't.
And he immediately sits back and he crosses his hands and he says, "You know what? I think we've got no vacancy here."
Oh my god.
God, I think the bed bugs have taken up all the spots, and I will walk out the door.
And I guess we all follow cursing Jordan behind his back.
Our fearless leader.
Or something leader.
Do I see a slightly classier inn just outside?
You don't, but you wander the city for a bit until it's distinctly later, and you wander towards the financial district, and you find a more respectable looking inn with a nicely carved wooden sign, and it's called a Wink and an Ale House. And you walk in, and it's bigger, and it's brighter, and the ceilings are higher, and it's got more tables. Same kind of patronage, although the people here are wearing finer robes. There are a couple wizards. And you see Ennet Proudfeather, who is another young halfling, with a large birthmark across one side of the face. And I'll type that as well. Ennet. And it is bussing a table as she goes about her business.
I'll just as we walk in and we take in the entry, I'll just turn and smile glumly at my compatriots, just ignoring all the scowls that I get.
Yeah, I will cast thaumaturgy on my eyes. They are flames, and I'm staring at Jordan.
Judd, remind me, have you paid for the gowns that they're making for you yet?
Not yet.
No, because what I'm thinking is I'm going to try and offer a wizard to a drinking competition for the claws on our backs. And if I can drink him under the table, I'll take his gowns.
Okay.
That sounds like a whole other type of establishment.
and it walks over to you with a big sort of tray of empties and dirty plates in her hands, or in her arms, and she says, "Well, hello."
Oh, you wouldn't believe the horrible inns in this town somewhere.
Oh, I would believe them, believe me. But I take it you're looking for...
I simply could not stay in a place like that. I was hoping you would have room. And a practicer of the arcane and his retainers?
Yes, of course. We've got all kinds. Small ones, big ones, sweet ones. Rooms with 3, rooms with 2, rooms for 10. What do you like?
Well, I'll need a bedroom and a receiving room. I have business in the town, and they may be calling upon me. My retainers will share a room.
You will say no such thing. We'll have one room each. He will not have a receiving room.
And she looks very confused, and she looks sort of from Thalar to Jordan and Sunny, and she doesn't know what's going on.
I will cast.
You will cast?
I will cast. Reduce on Thalar.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure he's going to have to make a save for that.
You can do.
Yeah. What's my save on that?
I think it's...
My save is 14.
No, but what's the roll? Is it Constitution?
Oh, right.
Yeah, what's your spell?
Constitution saving throw. Right, go on then.
Oh.
Your Constitution's probably alright.
Constitution, 9. That's not going to do it.
With modifiers.
Yeah, that was 7 plus 2 for con.
Right, you shrink...
I will place my hand on him and shrink him even... Silence, worm! I will have what I asked for. And I will... but we will have separate rooms for the cretins. And I will have a receiving room.
And it just sort of looks, and she goes, listen. We've got whatever you want. You just pay for it, and I'll give it to you. It's not a big deal. Just please stop shrinking in front of me.
I will let go of it.
It's a cold night.
It's concentration spell, I will release it.
Sunny...
And she...
Sorry.
Go ahead, Sunny.
Sunny was going to ask her what time the bar closes.
And she says, bar closes in 2 hours.
Okay, I will need a room then.
And she says, come over here. And she leads you over to the bar, where she's got an enormous rack of keys with little indicators for each room number. And it's gargantuan, because you get the sense that this building has a lot of rooms. And she says, okay, so, and she turns to Jordan, a large room with a receiving room. Is that right?
Yes, please.
And she turns and she sort of flicks her fingers over it, and she pulls one off, and she puts it down in front of you. And she says, 5 gold pieces, please.
Very well, my lady. Do you accept credit?
No.
Or are you pay up front?
Yes.
Oh, very well. I will pay. I will have it for two nights, please.
Right? That'll be fantastic. 10 gold pieces, please.
I will hand that over.
And she tucks it away behind the bar, and she passes your room over, and she points across the bar, and you can see a set of stairs, and she says, you're on the 3rd floor, down the hall.
Okay, and how much for the other rooms? I will be paying for them.
And she says, well, that depends. How many do you want?
3 separate rooms.
3 separate single rooms, 1 gold piece each. 6 gold pieces, 2 nights for the lot.
Very well.
And she takes that as well, and she hands out 3 extra keys, and she says, single rooms on the 1st floor, yours is on the 3rd, room number's on the key. And you look, and each of them has, 306, 112, whatever it is, on there.
And dinner for the evening?
And she says, what would you like? We've got pie, we've got sausage, we've got boar.
Oh, sausage.
And she says,
I'll take a pie.
sausage. Do you like kidney?
No.
Do you like chicken?
Yes.
Right, chicken and ale pie.
Sausages for Sunny, please.
Sausages.
I'll take some boar for Valorn.
Boar. What part of the boar would you like, dear?
All of it.
The whole boar.
Are you paying for that as well, Jordan?
He's hungry.
Shall I put it on the rooms?
Yes,
Put it on his
actually.
room.
I mean,
Yes,
don't
put it
buy
on
him
his
don't
room.
buy him a whole bar, but you can put it on the tab. Yes, you can put it
So-
on, charge it to the rooms.
So not a whole boar.
Not a whole bar.
What
He's
part of the
hungry,
boar would
fellas,
you like?
But he's not that hungry.
Well, what part would you recommend?
Well, it depends. Do you like the ass? Do you like the face?
Are you a tits or a leg man or an ass man?
yeah.
I'm more of an ass man myself.
Right, I'll give you
Bit of
some
rump.
nice boar rump then.
That sounds fantastic.
Would you like that here in the dining room or in your rooms?
We'll have it in the dining room, please, my lady.
Very good. Have a seat. Would you like some ale?
Oh, certainly.
Yes, please.
Very good, very good. Right, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. It'll be over shortly.
Do
And
you
she bustles
have
back.
any cleaning services, any washing services, bathhouse?
She says, we don't have a bathhouse here, but there's one down the street, and it'll open in the morning.
Very well. Thank you very much. You've been a fantastic help.
And she pops back off to the kitchen, and you're in this dining hall. Well, hall. You're in the main reception, the sort of in part of the inn.
Right, I'll just go dump my stuff, and I'll say, right, well, let's just settle in, and we'll meet back here for dinner and such.
Okay, as Jordan walks away to do his stuff, I will just mutter under my breath, "The Lord bless you and keep you, asshole."
So as you go and put Sunny, Thalar, and Valoran, you have very comfortable but modest rooms with a small single bed, a small trunk for your belongings, a small table, and a basin with a jug of water in it for just sort of washing your face. It's maybe 10 feet by 10 feet. It's pretty tiny, but it's warm and it's comfortable. And it's there. Jordan, you walk in, and yours is a bit nicer kept, of course. You've got your reception, which has a small couch and a table and a crackling fire. And then through a set of doors, which you can open and close as you like, you've got a large sort of double bed, big bed, and a couple extra trunks and a wardrobe and a second fireplace and another, again, a basin for your to wash your face and some extra linens and things.
Yeah.
And you all make... Oh, go ahead.
I'll just dump my stuff, and I'm heading back downstairs.
Yep. And so you make your way back downstairs, and by the time you've got there, and it's putting all the things on the table, she's got 4 large flagons of ale, and she's got piping hot pies and sausages with some potatoes, and it's simple fare, but it's done very, very well.
Sonny asks Ennet if any of the wizards in the room, who would she recommend going to talk to? Which are the most interesting and regulars?
And she says, well, you've got a few. You've got those guys over there. I've never seen them before. And it's just a couple wizards sitting in the corner having a chat, huddled around looks like a map. And she says, and then you've got old Joe. Old Joe was a wizard until he retired, and now he sits here and drinks a lot. God, he drinks a lot. And you see old Joe at the other side. Ancient-looking old man with shock white hair and a stubbly beard, and he's sort of sitting half into his flagon of ale. And every so often he burps, and every time he burps, the beer changes color. And then she says, and then you've got a few of our other regulars. You've got Sam over there, and she points to a young dwarf man who's poring over a large book. And she says, and then you've got your non-magic folk, and we've got plenty of them, but I don't know if you're interested.
And does old Joe ever pass out?
Old Joe, he rarely ever passes in.
Okay, thank you, Ennet.
And she nods and toddles off to keep doing whatever she's doing.
After we've eaten, I think Sonny would like to go talk to the 3 wizards looking at a map and invite them to a drinking competition.
Sure. So, you all enjoy your meal, and it's very warm and filling, and you're satisfied, and you have a nice drink. And then you go over to talk to these three wizards, and as you get closer, you notice that they're a mixed race group. You've got a human man, you've got a half-orc lady, and then you've got an elven man. And they're all sort of huddled around this. You can tell it kind of looks like a map. It's got some strange symbols on it, and they've sort of been doodling here and there, and they're engaged in an energetic and an enthusiastic conversation. But as you get closer, they sort of they look up and they stop what they're saying, and they sort of roll the map up and they just put it under the table, and they look at you curiously, as if to say, "Why have you walked over here without being invited?"
I would like to buy you three gentlemen a drink.
And the half-orc just goes, "I'm a lady."
And the good friend lady half-orc.
She sort of kisses her teeth. And the human guy goes, "Well, I tell you what, I'd love a drink. Thank you very much, kind stranger. 3
Yep, and I catch the attention of Ennett and tell him I've got an interesting cartography myself. I saw you working on a map there, and I'm an amateur cartographer myself. Just been travelling down the river, drawing a few maps, learning about the area."
Oh, okay. And they say, "That's nice. That's nice. Where are you from?
I'm a monk, but actually by trade, but travelling the world at the moment, seeing what I can see and learning what I can learn, and drinking what I can drink."
And the elf goes, "Cheers!" Clinks your flagon.
Excellent. So, by the looks of you, you're wizards. Is that correct?
And they nod and they say, "Yes, we're all up at the pavilion."
Ah, okay. And forgive me if I've got this wrong. On my travels in many an inn, it's been said that wizards make for terrible drinkers. So, forgive me if I've perhaps bought you one too many drinks. I don't want to make you ill or get you too drunk. Is this true?
The human sort of gives you a skeptical look. The elf just laughs, as if that's one of the funnier things that he's ever heard in his life. And the half-orc just scowls and slams her fist on the table and says, "Who has told you this?"
Oh, it was, the last time I heard it was just down the road in LL's Fox's place, where they were quite...
This place.
LL Twilight's place. Loads of people were joking how terrible drinkers wizards are.
And she draws her wand and she says, "I'll be right back." And she storms off.
Uh-oh.
Sonny, what have you got us into?
So
now it's just you and the human and the elf.
So I'd like to convince them into a drinking competition. I'd like.
All right. Well,
let's prove it.
Roll a persuasion check.
Just while he's rolling that, out of character, because obviously Phalar doesn't know this. Jed, did you not get like a scroll that just had an introduction for us to the mages?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. No, just checking.
Just checking.
Because I don't. I didn't mean to ruin any plans, but yeah. Okay.
Oh no! I'm well.
Okay, that's fine.
He has to have the right first impression.
17 in total.
Whew, okay, yeah, that'll do it. They take the bait.
Okay.
And they say, "Well, let's settle it right now."
Yep. And to make it fun, I would like to gamble. I'm a simple monk. All I've got is my monkly robes. How about a trade? We swap robes. If you lose, I get yours. If I lose, you get mine.
This is not how hustling works.
And the elf
Don't go straight to the big bet.
The elf looks at you and he looks you up and down and says, "I'll make you a deal, monk man. I have no use for your robes. They're terrible. Look at mine. They are quite fine. So here's the trade. If you win, I will give you the robes off my very back. But if I win, then I get every memory you have before the age of 5.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, you gonna get hustled now.
Well,
Wait, hold on. That dropped out for me. What did he say?
they're going to take every memory.
before he's 5.
I can't back out of this now.
Then I guess you're going to have to win.
Yep, I'm going to have to win.
All right, so let's. I've never done a drinking contest in D&D before. How would I like this to work mechanically? I suppose
Surely Constitution.
Yeah.
I would say just a straight up and down Constitution contest.
Am I allowed advantage because of my drunken...
Because you're an alcoholic, yes.
Yeah. Thank goodness
Let
for
me quickly mock up the stat. I just need to roll a stat for the Constitution for this guy.
D&D's not for kids. We're telling people that alcohol gives them advantage.
Kids, if you're ever
No,
listening to this one day when we become famous.
What he said was his experience in drinking has given us advantage.
Nah.
So what we're actually saying is practice makes perfect.
Practice, yeah.
Children, alcohol is very, very bad until you're 18, and then it's very, very good.
It solves many problems.
over here. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it is.
How about to simulate multiple drinks? Do we do a best of 5 rolls or something like that?
Yeah. So thank you. I finished rolling the modifier for this guy, which is +1. So I will do 5.
Okay.
And you will do 5, and each time we will compare. Whoever comes out on top with the most, whoever beats the other 5 times is the winner.
And
So,
I've got advantage. Yep.
And you've got advantage.
Okay.
So let me just quickly record. First roll, 21.
What?
Oh, God.
Well, that's a nat 20. So
Nat
I'm just gonna
20.
take the win on
Right,
that
okay,
one.
yeah. Yep, I've got 16 in total there. So,
Right.
yeah.
Second roll is 15.
19.
Okay. Third roll is 15 again.
17.
Ooh. Fourth roll is 14.
11.
Okay. Ooh, down to the wire. 2
Uh-oh.
each. Next roll will cinch it, but I only got a 7.
12. In your face!
Oh, that's close.
I was sweating there.
So right on the
That's
on the
quite a
last
good
drink.
mechanic for...
Yeah, that was intense. So right on the last drink, the elf goes, he hiccups. Well played, sir. I think I dunk, and he falls down onto the table.
Okay, so his colleague, the male wizard's still
human.
there, isn't he? So I say to him, I guess we're going to have to honour this bet. Help me take his robes off.
And his friend says, I tell you what, if only to preserve the modesty of my esteemed colleague, why don't I just bring the robes to your room?
Can I check for his genuineness, integrity
Yeah, of course.
there?
Roll an insight check.
If you can't trust a man delivering a drunk man's clothes, who can you trust?
12 for insight there.
You can tell that he has every intention of filling.
Okay, I believe him.
Good.
I'll let him know what room I'm in, and I expect.
Yeah, and he says they'll be there within 20 minutes.
Excellent.
And
And so I want to ask him about the map. So, well, that was all good fun. And I told you I'm interested in maps. I saw you were working on a map. Would you mind? I'd like to look at your artistry. Who made that map?
And his face falls, and he looks at you, and he says, I suggest you take your victory and be done with it.
Okay. Sore losers, but okay.
And he slings the elf over a shoulder, sort of, props him up with an arm, and drags him up the stairs and out of sight.
I tell you what, without advantage, I would have lost that.
It's a good thing you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Remember, kids?
the half orc comes back, and she half of her hair has changed color, and she's missing a finger. and she's got a huge grin on her face, and she just says, "Right, well, that's sorted that out then." And she looks around. She goes, "Wait, where'd they go?"
We
I think one's disrobing the other.
And she puts her head in her hands and she says, "Again."
Yeah, things. We did add some drinks. Things got carried away, and they've left. I don't know what you want to do.
And she says, "I think I'm just gonna go back to the pavilion." And she picks up her bag and she walks out.
Very good.
Well, I think we better head to bed then.
That's one way to make friends. I'm
Yes.
I'm going to stay up having another couple of drinks.
Yeah,
Well.
I think Sonny will.
And before you go, I just want to say, I do apologise for what happened before, but you must understand the kind of people that we're dealing with here. They won't listen to us unless they think we're worthy of the time, even with the introductory letter. And I was willing to pay for your rooms in the first place. That's why I thought I could save a bit of money.
Very well, very well. And Thalar smiles, nods, and retires to bed.
Right, very good.
I'd like to go up to Annette and use my by popular demand feature for the gladiator and just ask her if she knows, or I'll just go ahead and ask. It's like, Annette, so this is a pretty big city. Surely there's somewhere for someone like myself to engage in physical activity for money.
And she leans in and she says, "Are you a rent boy?"
Oh, God. Well, Lauren, what have you done?
That is kind of what you were asking there.
Oh,
Physical activity for
wait,
money?
I don't know what that is.
It's
Asking
a
if you're
male prostitute.
Oh, okay, no.
No.
Try
No, it's
specifying
like, no,
the type
I-
of engagement that you're looking for.
I'm looking for fighting pits or an arena of sorts.
She sort of sits back and gives you this sort of look, and she goes, "I see. Well, whatever your persuasion, you'll find physical combat in the slums outside the city. They usually have some sort of underground boxing stuff. So I've heard. I wouldn't know. I don't go there."
All right. Well, thank you. We might go over there.
And she nods and she kind of gives you another look up and down again. And
A bit of a wink.
okay, yeah, not a wink, just sort of an okay, and walks away.
I just turned to the group and said, "Yeah, I may have worded that a little wrong."
So if you do go to the fighting pits, I would think
I'd
that
definitely go.
Sonny would tag along. He's seen a bit of drunken boxing, and he'd be quite interested in
What
that.
time of the evening are we looking
It's quite late now. It's probably midnight.
Usually, fighting pits would stay open late.
Yeah, people must be fighting into the early hours.
And it starts going around, and she starts blowing up torches and letting the fire down and kicking out some of the patrons that aren't staying. She says, "Bar's closed, but I'll see you in the morning." She walks away.
Well, we better check
night.
that we're allowed back in if we, if there's a night entrance.
Mm.
So
Annette.
we just stop her at a Annette.
Oh yeah, she turns around.
We're thinking of going out for the night for a few hours for a bit of entertainment. Is there a night entrance we can use on our return?
And she says, "You can use the tradesman entrance at the back. Goes through the kitchens." But you fellas look like people that are used to going up the back passage.
Well, this one is anyway. I say nodding to Lauren.
She does. She looks straight at
put
Valor
my-
and she says that.
I just put my head in my hand.
And she smiles knowingly and she says, "He's underneath the lantern," and walks off to bed.
Well, shall we go to the fighting pits?
Let's go find these fighting pits.
Yeah, let's go.
All
get
right.
you, let's go get you sway.
Oh my God.
So you head out of the inn, and you start walking through the streets at night. And you're in a decent district. You're near the financial district, so everything's relatively well lit by lanterns and torches and things. And there's a night guard that patrols, and they give you a nod as they pass. This is clearly a good area of the city. And you travel down these well lit paths until you reach the city gates, because you know the slums are just outside. And as you go, the guards sort of stop you gruffly and say, "Are you coming back?"
Yes, we'll be back in a couple hours.
He says, "What's your purpose?"
We're just going to explore the city a little bit. We just recently arrived.
He gestures back inside the gates and says, "City's that way."
Come clean to him. I'm sure he knows about the fighting pits.
You think so?
Yeah.
I whispered to something. Hi. Oh, actually, we're actually going to the fighting pits for a little bit.
And he says, "Oh, gates close at 5.
Nope. All right. Thank you.
And he resumes his post. And you continue out of the city. You trod down the main road until you see this sort of little dirt spit. And you can see fires and tents crackling over towards the slums. And you make your way down through the wending, sort of unkempt, sort of impromptu streets is maybe the way of putting it. You know, these aren't planned or paved. It's just sort of dirt slum kind of stuff. And there's tents and some stray dogs running around, and it's not very well lit at all. And you get the sense that this is not, in fact, a very nice area of town whatsoever. And you find yourself stuck in the middle of these slums, and you've become a bit turned around, and you're not really sure where to go. There's no big neon sign saying "Fighting Pits this way." So there you are at sort of a crossroads, and you're in. There you go.
Is there anyone walking out and about that we can go and talk to?
There's some people distant, but the only person that you can see near you is collapsed in the street. Is just face down.
Well, didn't think he's going to be any help. So I guess we'll go to the people in the distance.
Yeah. So as you start walking down the street towards these people distant, a man steps around the corner with a jolly great knife, and he says, "Good evening, gentlemen."
All right,
Good evening.
Good evening.
And he
Can I
says,
help?
"What are some very fine place like this?"
Well,
we're actually looking for a
my
fight.
friend here, and I'll pat Valoran on the back, considers himself a bit of a champion, and we're just gonna test him out.
And he looks you up and down. He's a champion, huh? What kind of champion are you?
You explain it to him, Valoran.
Well, I'm a gladiator by trade.
And he says, gladiator, huh? I expect you'll be looking for the
I'm sorry, you cut out.
I expect you'll be looking for the fighting pits.
That would be correct. Could you help us?
Fantastic. Yes, I think I can. I think I can there. Follow me. And he starts walking quite quickly down some of these darkened paths and taking corners before you're sort of ready for it, and generally walking just a bit too quickly.
Can
I was gonna say, can we
He's
make
still got the knife out.
can we make a perception check to see if we feel like he's being truthful?
Insight.
Insight.
Yeah, go ahead, make an insight check.
That's a 9.
Sonny's got 13.
Anybody else rolling?
I'll roll.
Thalar's at home.
15.
Ooh, that's better.
Okay. You realize that what you've done after about 5 minutes of walking behind this person is you've just let a strange man with an enormous knife lead you down the back alleys of a completely unfamiliar slum in the middle of, and you reconsider your actions.
It's like, I think we've walked down this way. This was like the way we came. Do you know the other way?
He hasn't stopped to listen. He's still walking. And after you pause to reflect, he disappears out of sight.
Yeah, well, let's just back up. Back up. Boys.
Yeah, and I'd like to preemptively draw my swords just in case.
And
I'll cast light cantrip on my staff.
yep,
And
and
just
you illuminate the area around you, and you see tents and just sort of diseased-looking rats and things running about, and it's generally a very unpleasant place to be.
Can Sonny, utilising his mapping skills and his, I've got proficiency with navigator's tools as well, just hopefully he's kind of kept some track of where they are in relation to the gate they originally came through. Some kind of test to see if he
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
At least some kind of direction to heading. Perception, I have scored 12.
You've got a pretty good idea of the general direction that you came from, but you wouldn't turn these completely random. I won't even call them streets, because what it is it's just a tent city that's been set up on a bit of dirt, and so the streets are just the spaces between the tents.
A shanty town.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
So Sonny relays to the group that he thinks, if need be, he can get us heading in the general direction of where we came. And I don't know if...
You're the map man. I'm just the brain, so I'll follow you.
Please keep in mind you left your healer at home.
So you begin to head back the way that you came, twisting and turning through these various tents, and after about 5-10 minutes, you realize that you are no closer to finding out exactly where you are, and are in fact hopelessly lost.
Oh, don't worry, John, and we'll sort this out.
Okay, what can we currently see around us?
More tents. There's a portly-looking woman with a very happy face smoking a pipe next to a fire. There's a child poking at a dead rat with a stick. And there are some stray dogs fighting over a dead bird in the about 10 to 20 feet away.
You boy, do you wish to earn a silver?
And he looks up, and he's missing most of his teeth. And he says, "A silver?
A whole silver.
I've never seen that much money in my life."
Would you like to earn a copper then?
And he says, No, wait, go back to the silver.
All right, little one. We're looking for the fighting pits. Do you know where wrestlers go and fight?
I want to go.
I was going to say, why are you not going home?
And he says, "Sure I do, mister. I can get you the fighting pits."
How close are we, little man?
"Oh, not very."
Do you know the what was it called? The inn?
Winkin
the Winkin
Ale House.
Yeah.
You know where the Winkin Ale House is?
And he says, "Is that inside the city?"
Yeah.
"I'm not allowed inside the city.
I
can take you to the city gates, though."
Well, that'll have to do, little man.
"Okay, follow me." And
cool.
he picked and he says,
It sounds lovely. I hope I don't have to bite his hand off.
I was going to say,
he says,
Yeah,
"Come on,
hey,
Stephen."
Hey, kid, I've got that to pay with.
And he says, "Come on, Stephen!" And he picks up the dead rat and he starts walking away down through the shanty tents, sort of making airplane noises, or rather, I suppose, airship noises with the rat as he plays with it as he runs through the streets.
I think we should keep him.
Stephen?
Ooh, so does that mean there are airships in this world? Interesting.
Yes, there are. And he turns around.
The rat is Stephen.
The rat is Stephen.
What's your name, little fella?
Me, I'm Bradley.
Bradley. Good name. Good name. Who says you're not allowed to go into the city? Have you got parents?
No.
So who looks after you? Please don't say Stephen.
Stephen, yeah.
Right. Well,
I turned to Jordan and we're not adopting Bradley, are we?
I mean, No, but we've got to do something with him.
Yeah, give him a silver piece.
Look at him! Look at his little lisp! Tell me you don't kind of want him.
No.
What are you guys doing here in my tent city?
Your city? Is that you a king?
Oh, I wish.
Oh, I bet you do. You wouldn't need the silver then, would you?
No, I'd have all kinds of gold and knights and magic. Oh, it'd be great.
Well, my friend here, and I'll look at a bit of a knight. He can tell you a cool story while we're going, if you wish.
Oh, gee whiz, that'd be great, mister.
Oh, go on, Valoran. Cheer the kid up.
Tell him the one
He
about.
looks at you with enormous expectant eyes.
Tell him the one
Jack-
about the coin and the guys in there.
The coin. Yeah, so I'll tell him about the coin and Jordan and
Don't tell him I bit his hand
Poor
off.
welfare.
yeah, and Welfor.
And you get to the end of the story, which has sort of brought you to the reason that you're all in the tent city and whatnot. He says,
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Wizards and magic and devils and that's so exciting. I've never seen anything so exciting in my whole life. That's just me and Steven.
I feel like we're in a Pixar film.
He doesn't talk much.
Yeah, it's
No,
'cause
he's a
I'm
very
dead,
quiet
Bradley.
rat. I mean,
Well, he talks sometimes, but sometimes he just makes noise. Kind of noises, but it's okay. I haven't known him very long. Anyway, come follow me.
and he starts running down the street quite quickly, actually.
He's gonna
I
kill
mean,
us.
we can't adopt him because obviously we've got like really dangerous stuff. We have to do something with the little kid, man.
Yeah, ask him. Ask him what he wants. What does he want in life?
I don't know. I guess 2 Stevens would be pretty great.
Oh my god.
Maybe I'll call the second one Malcolm.
As we're walking along, I just want to like lean into Sonny and go, oh, find him a rat if you see one on the way past. We can at least do this.
I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah, and I will also keep my eyes open.
And
for
he leads you
a-
through the city.
Find him a dog at least.
He leads you through the city.
Yeah, any small unowned creature like a rat, cat. You know, if we see one.
Hmm. And you see
Alive.
all manner of these kinds of creatures, both alive and dead,
Okay.
as you
well,
walk.
Then my next job is to ray a frost one.
Oh my god.
Don't kill it.
There's plenty that are already dead.
Oh.
It's a slum. I mean, they're kind of everywhere.
Well, yeah, but I assume they'd be eaten.
Well, I mean, most of them are half-eaten. Stephen has the distinction of being whole.
That sounds horrific.
Just give him a live one. Oh, sorry, I'm not there.
Thalar speaks as the voice of your conscience.
Sorry, yes.
Can I use Mage Hand to pick up a live one?
Yeah. Alive what, rat?
Yeah, let's go with rat.
Yeah. Okay.
Bradley,
Yes?
how'd you like this fella? I've found him. His name's
Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Malcolm? Oh boy, well, I tell you what, mister, that's sure nice of you, but he's kind of moving a lot, and last time I saw one of them, it was Steven, and he bit me, and I had to hit him real hard.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just.
And now look!
And he puts his hand out, and his hand is like black with gangrene.
It smells real bad.
Okay. Well, I think I saw another one. I'll just turn around and I'll hit Malcolm on the first thing I see, and I'll just like.
It squeaks and dies. Yeah.
I'm like, oh look, this is another Malcolm I've found.
Oh boy! Hey, look, it doesn't move just like Steven. Oh, gee whiz.
Every time he holds out his hand, I just want to like retch into my mouth a little bit.
And he sticks out his gross hand to accept the dead rat.
We need
Yeah,
to
there you go.
heal this kid's
We
hand.
need to
don't
do
we?
something with this kid, man.
Thanks, mister.
And he tucks Malcolm under one arm and Stephen under the other, and
Come on, we're almost there.
he starts toddling away.
Okay. Bradley, when I was talking to Malcolm before, he wanted you. I know that Stephen said you can't go into the city, but Malcolm said that you could come and meet a friend of ours who might be able to help you.
Oh, that's so nice, Mister. It's not Steven that says I can't city. It's the guards. They say no. You're too young. You're too smelly. You got no parents. You live in the slum. You can't go in.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine, because if you're with us, the guards will let you. So you can come with us, and we'll sort you out for tonight.
This is like the most exciting thing he's ever heard.
Unless he knows of a... Sonny asked him, do you know a way to get into the city where the guards can't see you?
Mister, if I knew that, do you think I'd live in the slum?
Yeah, you'd be in the
there.
city, yeah.
The guards would throw you back out, wouldn't they?
Yes, they would, but also the walls are real tall. And I'm just a little guy.
You are little. Let's go, fella.
Okay.
And he keeps walking, and you make it back out onto the main road, and you sort of come around from a tent, and all of a sudden you're out, and you can see the main road, and across the clearing is the gates of the city.
Okay.
And he stops. Bradley stops, and he looks kind of shy and sheepish and a little afraid, and he says,
I shouldn't. I don't normally go closer than this, or I usually get yelled.
Do you get yelled at for being small, Bradley?
No, I get yelled at for being what's the word they say?
Urchin?
That's the one.
Nah, you're not an urchin anymore because you're with us.
Oh boy, I don't know what it means, but it sure did kind of hurt my feelings. So I'm glad I'm not in anymore. What?
Well, good. Yeah, just come with us, and we'll take him in.
Okay.
and he sticks out his gross hand and he tries to hold your hand.
No, you've got to carry Malcolm
I just
and
encourage him to hold his hand.
I mean, you don't want to drop Malcolm and Stephen, do you? Because they're
Oh, it's okay.
And he sticks Malcolm under the other arm of Steve, and he says, I can hold you for one arm. And he holds his hand back out.
I will pull my hand into my sleeve, cast a mage hand, and you can hold
That's
that.
what I was going to suggest.
He goes, oh boy, magic hand! And he just holds mage hand, and he doesn't mind.
See, I am special and powerful.
Yes.
And that way you don't have to stay right that close to me.
Okay. Okay. Let's go.
And he follows you. He's not leading the way anymore.
Okay, so we'll take him back to.
And the guard sticks out his hand and he says, hang on a minute.
He's with us.
And he says, that's nice, but you see, what I've just seen is that you went into the slums and then you came back 2 hours later with a small boy.
I just turned to Jordan and I was like, I swear.
And he looks at Valoran and he says, what are your intentions?
This child will be perfectly safe. My name is Gian, and I was gonna take him to a healer, and then I was gonna put him up in an inn for a night or two. And you know, he's got a pretty shitty life. I just thought we might be able to make it a little bit better.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh no.
With advantage, because I look like an upstanding fella.
No, because you just showed up and you're 3 middle-aged men with a small boy who's holding two
And
dead
two
rats.
Dead rats.
I am 17, so I would.
17, right? And he goes, well.
Oh
Aren't
no,
you-
no! I rolled a 4. I'm just saying I am 17 years old, not
Oh,
a middle-aged man.
sorry. You rolled a 4, and he says, you're gonna have to let the boy go back to the...
Look at him. Look at this hand. If he goes back in there another night, he will die. Do you want that on your conscience?
And he just sort of chuffs and indicates that the life of a slum child is not necessarily going to...
Well, that's because this is not a slum child. What you have here is the prince of Kana.
Of what?
Kana in the Far East.
And he looks at you even more skeptically. Yeah.
He's a dignitary from a foreign city.
Well, he got lost.
In a slum.
Come on,
He
man!
was-
And I will get 5 gold coins out, and I will show them to the guard. And I'll
He
say,
snatches them and he says, "Why didn't you say so? Well, come to pass, then, your highness." And he bows deeply and he makes way.
Okay. And what is your name, guard?
And he says, he says, "I'm rolling."
Well, I will then. Do you work this part of the town every day?
No, we rotate, but
Oh.
but I'm around.
Because I was gonna bring this child back to you tomorrow to show that he is in fact safe.
And he says, "You're gonna," but he's the Prince of Kana, right?
Well, yeah, that's why you would know he would be safe. That's why I'm protecting him.
Yeah. So why are you gonna give him to me?
I'm not gonna give him to you. You're just gonna show you that you're.
And he says, "I genuinely don't care."
Right. Okay. Let's go back to the inn.
Right. So you wend your way back to the inn, and
that's
you
gonna
get-
be so bad of me.
you get back in, and it's the middle of the night, and it's fast asleep, and you walk through the inn, and you go back up to your rooms, and Bradley says,
Oh, I tell you what, this place is nice. Look, it's got everything. It's got tables and a fire and oh boy.
Yeah, nothing but the best for us, brothers, mate. And your highness.
Steven, look!
and he shows the rat the fire.
Oh, we're gonna. Well, you wait here. We're just gonna go get a friend of ours.
I'll go,
You
I'll go
take
over here.
out that fire.
And he is,
Right.
Okay.
and he hides underneath a table and starts getting the rat. He smashes the.
Brilliant.
Right,
idea.
we'll go get. I'll go to Daylar's room.
I'd love to see you explain this.
What are you doing here?
So you're like a healer, yeah? Do you say you were Lathander?
Yes, I'm server of
Yeah.
Lathander, the Dawn Lord.
Yeah. Is Lathander all about suffering and healing and that kind of thing? You know, I'm not good with the gods.
Yes, healing, all that stuff. You know what I do. Renewal, vitality, all that kind of thing.
Brilliant. Come with me.
So late.
Valor and
Okay.
Nietzsche. We were at the fighting pits, but Valor and Nietzsche.
Okay, fine. I grab my holy water. And that's really all I have in terms of medical stuff, but we'll go.
Brilliant. And we'll walk downstairs, and I'll just point at Bradley.
For Lathander's sake, what have you done?
I may have borrowed this child.
And Bradley looks up and he goes,
Oh, wow, look at you. You're a man with a big beard, but you're short like me.
Yes,
Yeah, he is
nice to meet you.
Do you be shorter? I can do that.
Just
Oh,
you
that,
try.
how are you going to do that, mister?
Oh, I am very cool. But anyway, this man knows, medicines and baths and such, and he's going to look after you for a little bit.
Bath.
Okay.
Okay, so can I do just a straight up down medicine check for this?
"Yeah, just
Try-
do a medicine check."
just try to stabilize. That's a 7 plus 5.
Yeah,
12.
that's sufficient.
gangrene.
What do you do?
Well, I'm gonna.
Cut the hand off.
First, I pray to God
Get
that
sunny.
I don't accidentally do this. Yeah, I pray to God that I don't break this boy's hand off. I spread a little holy water to clean it off, and then, by the power invested in me by Lathander, I don't actually have any medical supplies. This is kind of the problem at the moment.
You just wrap it up.
You have magic powers.
I was gonna say, do you know what? We're gonna rest. I will just cast Cure Wounds on him.
Okay, what does that?
Just let me remember. Well, it will just give him some hit points. Will that be good enough?
Equal to
cure
1d8
the-
plus 2. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we'll call
Yeah,
it done.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
do
there
have to
go.
touch the gangrene, though.
It just says touch. I touch his head.
And you touch his head and you cast Cure Wounds, and his hand, you can watch the gangrene sort of recede back to where the bite began and then eventually vanish. And he's got the eyes the size of dinner plates, and he's just like,
Oh, wow. But now my smelly hand doesn't smell anymore.
Yes,
No,
little one,
it-
that's true.
Smelly
it
hand,
doesn't.
brilliant.
But Bradley, smelling is not always a good thing. But we might be able to do something about that.
What's that?
Well, there's a thing called bath.
I'm not
Bath?
taking him to the bath.
Bath? Bath? What's that?
Bath. Yeah.
Bath?
Basically, it's like when it rains, but
Uh-huh.
and you get a puddle. Only that puddle is warm and doesn't smell like sewage.
Okay.
Yeah, and then what happens is, I mean, there's a lot to go through here, but basically, you don't smell, and
Uh-huh.
then with luck, someone will, give you a job, and you know what a job is, don't you, Bradley?
Oh, yeah, I've had
Oh,
lots
yeah.
of jobs.
Jobs are well cool. You've already done one tonight. You've already been a job today because you've already helped us out, haven't you?
Yeah, I helped real good.
So you proved you're a dead good worker. So we'll try and get you a job in the city, and then you won't smell and you'll be able to eat.
Okay, mister.
I mean,
what-
there are downsides. Most people in the city don't keep rats,
oh.
but
What is that?
they do keep things like cat. Have you ever tried a cat or a dog?
No, they're big. Steven's
Yeah.
nice and small.
They are big, but they don't give you gangrene.
Well, okay.
Because to be fair, Steven nearly killed you.
What? Oh. Oh.
The smelly
Very
hand.
naughty of Steven to do you.
That's not a good thing, having the smelly hand, dude. So, we want to get rid of Steven.
Well, he was very naughty, so. Okay.
Oh, cool. You're
He hands over
you're
Steven.
Such a grown-up boy.
Oh, thanks, mister.
I'm
What
just
about
gonna.
Malcolm?
Oh yeah.
Malcolm's a clean rat, man. I find only the cleanest of rats.
I'll just lean over to Jordan and whisper in his ear. The boy's physical wounds I can fix. His mental ones are beyond my abilities.
Well, you've turned out just fine, so I think we'll be alright. He's a stable boy or something.
I'm gonna thaumaturgy my eyes again.
Right, okay,
no.
so he needs to stay in someone's room. And as I'm paying, shotgun not mine.
I cannot.
The man
put
with the
him in
biggest
my
room.
Yeah.
Did you get your receiving room?
For receiving dignitaries and guests, not...
He
He can sleep on the. He can sleep in there for now.
Okay, okay. Okay. Bradley, you're gonna come up into my room, if that's alright.
Okay.
Good man, good man. We'll have lots of fun, but we'll be very quiet for the...
Oh my god.
I've heard that before.
Oh, no, we'll be in... No, oh, don't worry about it. Is there any way that one of you guys would chaperone so that to other people this doesn't look so weird? And also doesn't look like a gangbang?
I'll come with you.
I mean, thank you. I mean, you're welcome to the receiving room too.
Although I'm worried about what the reputation of a priest coming into the room with you, but
Priests can be trusted, can't they?
I will speak to Init in the morning, and we'll sort something out.
Right. You all going to bed?
Okay, yeah. Bradley can come to my room.
Please.
All right. Everybody goes to bed. Take a long rest.
Yeah.
Although that's going to do nothing except cure the spell thoughts of Thalar.
Yep.
And me, I use one.
Oh, that's right. Morning breaks, and the sun comes up, and you all wake up, and you can hear the sort of hustle and bustle in the inn. Breakfast is being made, and it's the morning time.
Super. Bradley, come with me, my friend. Well, let's have breakfast.
Okay.
You find Sonny at the bar already.
Oh,
would
I
like
see
to
you
hear
don't waste
something.
any time.
No, he really likes to drink.
Yeah, my dad used to like that too.
Oh, is he a monk?
No, he just liked to drink.
Oh.
It made his breath smell funny.
It does make people's breath smell funny. Maybe everyone should be aware of that.
Yeah, then he talked funny and then he slept for a nice long time.
Oh, I'm so upset for Bradley.
I'm hungry, mister. Is it food?
Oh yes, food. Yeah, of course. Well done, brother. Let's get you some food.
Okay.
Well done, Bradley.
In it, can we have some dinner, please? Some breakfast and for my guest, or Valoran's guest. Sorry, shall I say?
And it just looks straight at Valoran, and she just death. If looks could kill, you'd have been 6 feet under a long time ago.
No,
I would like to try to explain the situation.
I will let. Okay. Last night we were out looking for the fighting pits, as you know, and we came across this little scamp, and he had a gangrenous hand, but despite all the shit lifestyle, he was just so cheery, and he was so willing to help strangers out in a time of need that I couldn't leave him in there. So we brought him back here, and we thought we'll clean him up, and we'll try and find someone that might be willing to give him a roof or in exchange for work, obviously. Maybe someone who owns an inn that might want a stable boy, or just a cleaner, someone just to be around occasionally.
Roll a persuasion check to see if this story holds any water within it.
Please roll high.
With advantage.
Yes, because of her good nature.
Oh, thank fuck, because that was a 1. And that's a natural 20.
Natural 20.
Yeah.
She beams a huge grin, ear to ear, and she says, "Oh, aren't you kind? Come with me, little one. Come with me." And she reaches out her hand, and she to take Bradley's hand, and Bradley says,
Okay, lady.
and he takes her hand, and they walk into the kitchen together to go and fetch breakfast.
Oh, I'm shedding a little tear.
Time passes, a few minutes pass, and she comes back, and she's got this tray laden with lots of food, and she starts placing it down, and there's everything. There's ham and eggs and bacon and cheese and bread and whatever it is, and Bradley is very carefully holding a great big pot with steam coming out of it, and he's walking very deliberately, very slowly. He doesn't want to spill it, and after Enid lays down all the food, she turns around, she goes back, and she takes it off of Bradley's hands, and she puts it on the table, and he sort of skips back over to the table, and she says, "That was a very good job that you did." And she turns to you, and she says, "Breakfast is on the house."
You were good, Lauren, and
Nice.
Thank you, Enid.
Imply that this is what that you would have to stay here, but you looked very motherly with him.
And she says, "Oh, we've always got space for a few here at my inn. So no, he'll be well. We've got a job for him."
You are an angel. Thank you very much.
And she says,
in good conscience, leave him on the street.
she says, "Oh, go ahead."
I was just going to say, I think that we should just kindly let Ennet know this isn't a threat, but it's just I'm going to try and disguise this as that we will pop in occasionally to visit our. We've grown fond of Bradley, and we'll come and visit him occasionally to check on his welfare.
And she says, "You're welcome anytime." And she takes Bradley by the hand and says, "Why don't we get you a nice sausage?" And he goes,
Oh, boy.
and they toddle off back to the kitchen.
Super.
We did it.
We've done some good there, guys. That's
Snack up.
good work.
We may not have had any battles, but we had a good time, and we saved a little kid.
Hi, man. That kid was adorable,
He was.
and I can't be a complete twat.
I mean, not all the time.
No.
A lot of it I'm fine with, but even I do have my. We need for the rest of the day we need to bath and look respectable-ish.
Yeah. I take it my robes were delivered to my room.
They were. Yeah,
Good.
they were there when you came back late at night.
I'll hand these to John and for his inspection.
These look fantastic. Are these comparative to what I was about to buy?
Yeah, they're fine. I mean, they're not, brand new and the nicest and most recent fabric money could buy, but they're nicer than what you've got on, and they're clearly the fashion of the town.
Right. Okay. Well, this is a brilliant job, Sonny. Well done. These will do fine. So
It's not much I'm good at, but I'm good at drinking.
That certainly appears to be the case.
And falling off roofs.
Yes, so we will bathe. We will go of mages, and then let's see what happens.
Okay, you do that. You bathe, you get ready, and you begin to make your way to the Pavilion of Wizards. And by the time you get there, it's it's decently mid-morning. I would say maybe 10 or 11 in the morning. And as you approach, you've made your way through the town. It's right on the other side of town. Excuse me. And you come up and you arrive in this enormous square, this big town square. And the Wizard Pavilion is this big stone circular structure, 3-4 stories tall, with a thatched roof standing in the center of this town square. But it's clear that the square has been built around the pavilion, as opposed to it being built in the center of the square, if that makes sense. And the center of the circle, this big stone circle, this circular structure of the Wizard Pavilion, is filled with the broad branches of an oak tree. Big, huge oak tree. Is not quite as tall as the whole thing, but the center ring is shaded because of it. At one end of the circle, the tower is jutting 1 story above the ring, just a pointed tower, and has got some lanterns on inside it. And before you, there are some enormous wooden doors, easily 15 feet tall, 10 feet wide. And the doors are wide open, and on either side stand 2 guards wearing simple armor, a breastplate, some gauntlets, some cuisses, the sort of thigh-protecting armor, and everything else is just leather. They carry big sort of knight-style medieval swords, and they look pretty tough, and they sort of are keeping watch. They're standing guard outside this Wizard Pavilion. And Jornan, you recognize them as watchmen, pavilion watchmen, and they are sort of like wizard cops.
When you say wizard cops, do you mean they are magicians in themselves, or they are cops for wizards?
Both. They are magical. They have magic powers, but they are also employed by the Pavilion, which is an international entity, to uphold the laws and order of wizardry.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So they're at the entrance then.
Yeah, they're flanking they're sort of standing guard, flanking, keeping an eye out.
I'm like, excuse me, the good friend. I am Jornan of.
Oh, they're easily like 50 feet away.
Oh right. Okay. Well, I won't say it. To
You shout it from across the square.
Hello.
There's nobody between you. You're just shouting at them.
Yeah. So in that case, I will approach them, and I will ready my letter of introduction.
About 20 feet away from the door, there is an enormous flash of blue light, and you are thrown back 20 feet, and you take 4 force damage.
What a dick move!
Damn it! Was that all
And
of us, or was that you?
Everyone that just tried to walk in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did not.
And the guard,
Only did.
the guard takes notice of that, and he walks up to you menacingly, and he leans over, and he says, "State your business."
My name is Jornan of. Oh, that's a bit sore. Jornan's Fabulous Adventuring Group. These are my retainers and compadres. We are here on a matter of utmost importance, and I have a letter here from the priest of Rayok. Rayok?
Yes.
Yep.
Conga.
From Conga, the head priest of Rayok, at Broadford, requesting assistance and guest Right.
And he looks down the end of his nose at you, and he says, well, I don't know if you've been to a wizard pavilion before. Well, I can tell you haven't, because you tried to walk in. There's only two ways that you can come inside. Either have to be invited, or you have to carry a talisman that we give to our pavilion members that'll just let them in any time. So, just as an FYI, next time, don't try walking in.
Is that one each? Would we be given, or would if
Yes,
I had one?
you need one.
I mean,
But
that seems
if you have business inside, then you are invited in. Please come in.
Ah, cool.
And with that, nothing visible happens.
Right. Okay. We'll go in.
Right. So you walk through, and Sunny and Thalar and Valoran stride right past the invisible barrier. But Jornan, there's another flash, but this time the light flashes red. And you're immediately subject to a wisdom saving throw.
Uh-oh.
This seems eminently unfair, but let's go with 16.
All right. That is not successful. You are immediately paralyzed, which just means you're frozen in place. You can't move. And the guard immediately draws his magic sword, and the other one comes, and he holds you at sword point, and he says, "State your business. What do you have on your person?"
Well, I'm paralyzed. Am I completely? Am I
You
just
can
immobile?
you can speak, but your body cannot move.
Okay. I will. I carry with me a. This is what I needed to talk to you about, and not what I was trying. What I wanted done on the street, but I carry a token of Glacia, demoness, of daughter of Asmodeus.
Their eyes widen, and one of them sort of hikes his sword up a bit higher, and the other one immediately inside the pavilion, and returns maybe 2 minutes later with a 40-year-old, excuse me, a 40-year-old human Turami male.
Hey, Turami bro!
He comes out. He's got a huge scar, which has taken one of his eyes, and patch, and he's wearing a uniform which is identical to the other two watchmen, but the insignia on his gauntlets is different. It indicates his rank. And he strides over, and he says, "My guards have informed me that you are trying to enter our pavilion with items of an evil nature."
Yeah. I require assistance from brighter minds than mine.
And he sort of looks up and down, and he says, "I will let you inside, but only if you submit yourself to our standards."
To our standard what? So you cut out.
Security protocols.
Which are?
That need not concern you. You agree or you don't?
I mean,
Given that they've got you paralyzed, I'm not sure you've got much of a choice.
well, I can say no, and they should
Well,
me. For the sake of the world, I accept.
Very good. And he reaches into a small pouch at his left-hand side, and he pulls out a spell scroll, recognized as a spell scroll. And he crushes it in his hand, and he speaks a word, and he casts anti-magic field on himself, which then extends 10 feet away from himself and subsumes you in it. And the instant that the field touches you, the spell which paralyzed you ends, and you are freed from it. You are now mobile. But the thing is, you've never not had magic before. Like, you've been in a state where you've been not casting spells, or something has happened, or blocked, or whatever, but you've never just like had no magic whatsoever, because there's always magic in the world around you, and now you can feel with your wizard sense that in this bubble around this guy, it is just removed from magic, and it feels it's a feeling you've never experienced before. And you also realize that the normal thrum of dark power that you feel from the coin, which over the last few days you've gotten used to, is just completely gone. It's nothing. Everything is completely neutral. And he says, "Please follow me." And he begins to walk back into the pavilion.
Okay. I just want to like gasp and say, at all. This is unusual, and how do you put up with this?
And he says, "You get used to it."
Okay. Yeah, and we'll follow on.
So he leads into the pavilion, into the courtyard where you see this huge tree, and then into the guardhouse, and down a flight of stairs underground into a larger room, which has room for everybody in it, and there's a fireplace with a fire crackling. And inside, he brings everybody in, and he sits them down on the chairs, and he says, "Right, I'd like you to explain yourselves, please."
I'll do the talking then.
You don't have to actually go through it if you don't want to. You can.
But I'll just roughly explain that. 7 days ago, when exploring a tomb, we came across a demon ritual, and then after a battle, we took this the coin from a former ally, and all that shit, and then the Conga bit, and then.
Okay.
I'll also ask if a wizard named Wealth.
He doesn't recognize the name Wilford, but he says, "There are many wizards which are members of our pavilion here, and I'm afraid I don't know them all."
Well,
but,
one of our brothers died obtaining this.
And he nods solemnly, and he says, "This is beyond my experience. I will have to refer to a higher authority. Please excuse me." And he gets up and he whispers something to one of the guards that come with you, and he toddles off and comes back maybe 10, 15 minutes later with another man who stands a bit taller. He's human. He's got long blonde hair tied into a top knot and a beard, and he's wearing the same armor but with even more of a grand insignia. And you can tell by the way that these people comport himself that he seems to be one of the sort of the watchmen in charge around here. And with him is a wizard, a shorter halfling wizard with a bit of a simpering demeanor, shall we say. And he is wearing ornate robes, and they stride into the room together. And the human turns and says, sorry, he says, "I am Arvin, commander of the Inisti Watchmen. This is the deputy master of the pavilion." And the halfling sort of does a bizarre bow that it's clear he's very nervous. And he says, "It's been brought to my attention that you have an item of extreme power and extreme evil in your possession. And this is unfortunate."
Yes, I do. I was hoping someone here might be able to assist in a banishment or a countering of what's happened.
And he nods and he says, "May we see the coin?"
Yeah, am I still in the anti-magic field?
Yes.
Right, so I shouldn't be affected too much by it. Yes, know that this coin before has possessed me before, and has certainly tried to possess others as well.
And he nods and he extends his hand.
And I take it out and I unwrap it carefully, and it's like a desk in front of me. I put it on. I don't want to just drop it onto his hand. I wrap it first, and then if he picks it up, it's his choice.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a small side table.
Yeah, I'll
yeah. Sorry, just before he does, just because, I don't know, I'm feeling a bit nervous around all these people. Before he hands over this coin, I just quietly, and with a little flick of my hands, cast Detect Evil and Good.
Well, are you under the anti-magic too?
Yeah, nothing happens. You're cut off from all magic.
And I kind of go, huh.
Well, it happens. Performance anxiety.
Arcane magic and divine magic do have something in common.
Yeah, forgot about that. Okay, my hands do nothing.
Okay. So yeah, I'll unwrap and I'll show it him.
He looks at it, and he examines the symbol on the front and the back, and without hesitation, he picks it up, and nothing happens.
Just before he picks it up, I go, wait!
It's too late. He scoops it up, and then he kind of, and he looks at both sides of the coin, and he examines it, and he turns it over in his hands, and then he nods.
Do you hear Circus too?
And he says, "No, we're in an anti-magic field."
Well, demons are demons, and they have special ways of doing things. But very well, you know more about this.
He sort of sniffs, and he hands it to the deputy master, who sort of fumbles a bit, and he says, "What do you make of this? You're the book one. You know all about these kinds of things." And the deputy master sort of turns it over in his hands, and he closely at the symbol, and he says, "This is the symbol of Furcus. Have you spoken to him?"
I have. He assisted us in a battle. I had to allow him the use of my body.
At this, every single person in the room that is not in your adventuring party snaps their heads over and you.
Yeah, I wasn't very keen on it either. But it was he obeyed the old codes and left after the agreed time period. But I fear his stain upon me.
They turn back to the coin, and the deputy master says, "Well, let's get to the bottom of this." And he draws an enormous. He draws a magic circle, which is big enough to contain all of you, and it extends beyond the reaches of the anti-magic field. And he gestures to the sergeant, the guy that cast it in the first place, and with a wave of a hand and a spoken word, you can feel the power rush back into him, and there's a vacuum of power that then you can kind of feel a whoosh of magic trapped within this magical field, but this feeling returns. The anti-magic field is dispelled, and immediately you hear, "How dare you!" And the sergeant he collapses on the ground and starts clawing at his throat.
Do you all hear that too? That was Circus. That's the voice I've heard before.
It's not me, honest. And the deputy extends a hand and instantly casts anti-magic field again with a word, and Furcus disappears, and the voice of Furcus disappears, and that void feeling fills the space once more, and the sergeant sort of gasps for breath.
Did the voice come from the sergeant, not from me?
It came from the coin.
All right, from the coin. That's okay.
I did think you were awfully defensive.
Do you hear that?
For a minute though, I thought it was me.
And you hear the deputy turns to the commander and he says, "You must fetch the master." And the commander nods curtly, and he breaks the magic circle with his foot and runs at full tilt out of the room. And the deputy master starts to examine the coin again and making some notes, and he's visibly sweating. And after a few minutes, the commander returns, and he sort of stands at attention. And into the room walks the master of the Pavilion of Anisti. And Jordan, you recognize this person. Her name is Garahel Trollbender, and she's a female dwarf. She's got bright red hair, braided into extremely intricate patterns, and thick purple robes, very sumptuous purple robes. She walks with a wizard's staff, which is taller than she is because she's a dwarf. And she's got this look of extreme displeasure on her face. And she's got the opposite sort of feeling to that of Furcus, where Furcus radiated this cold, slimy, evil energy. The power that she exudes, which you can faintly feel coming off of her, not in waves and droves, but you can certainly feel this thick aura around her, is like a distant fire. It's warm and it's life. And she wordlessly steps in and seals the circle, and then turns to the party and she says, "Well, you really screwed the pooch on this one."
I just want to bite my words and say yes. It appears we have.
And just
she-
stare at Lauren.
I accept blame, but make it clear that I think we're not at fault.
And she turns and she picks up Furcus's coin, and she looks at it on both sides, and she says, "Well, I've got good news, and I've got bad news. Which would you like to hear first?"
Bad news.
She says, "The bad news is that as of this moment, you are being detained at His Majesty's pleasure for possession and transport of a level 2 magical artifact into the Wizard Pavilion.
God damn it.
A full review of this object will be undertaken to the source of its summoning, in which case you will be immediately released into the astral plane."
Oh. I turn to my group and say, that's really bad.
Yeah.
And the good news?
She says, "The good news is that you have the opportunity to free yourselves."
I like that option.
I mean,
Yeah, how do we do this?
opportunity doesn't sound like good news, but we'll accept.
She says, "I don't know how much you might know of the Bastion,
Of the what, sorry?
of Anisti.
Alright, yeah. Not very much.
You can, you have the opportunity to win your freedom and avoid punishment by satisfying our 2 laws, both the mundane and the magical now. Magical is already being taken care of. I will conduct a thorough investigation into the origins of this coin. I will send a magical messenger to the place of its origin with some information that I will helpfully glean from you. And we will make sure that you are not the source of it. We will make sure you're not infected by it. And if you can satisfy me, then that is one half of the problem solved. If you're telling the truth, this should be relatively easy to do. The other half is not so easy, because you need to go and send yourself before the king and complete some sort of trial. I don't know, it changes. It's some sort of ordeal that he will send you through a quest, perhaps, or sometimes he'll just poke you with fire. He has his moods. But if you can satisfy both elements of the mundane and the magical, then you will be freed. As a result, this means that you'll be released from the building and ordered to report to the castle within the hour, and they will be expecting you. Once you are given your task, you will carry it out and return to the pavilion to face judgment. Be advised, if you flee and do not return, you will be considered guilty and declared enemies of the classes of magic. For the non-magic users among you, that means that any practicing wizard in the world will be given license to terminate you with extreme prejudice and rewarded for the privilege. It is not recommended to be in such a position.
I will turn to my group and just go, that's also very bad.
I think we're in a position to accept. Well, not that we're in a position to reject, but I think we will need to be going to see the king.
And she says, "Well, I'm pleased to hear that you accept my proposition." And she motions to the commander, and the magic circle is broken. The shackles are sort of removed from the door, and she motions to it, and she says, "Within the hour at the castle. We'll see you soon."
Okay.
Okay.
Right, so
All right,
we've left, and is there anyone around us?
You make your way out back to the top of the pavilion, into the courtyard, and then out the front gates, where the guards give you a bit of an eye, and that's it. The gates are still wide open, but as you pass through the wards, you are now firmly on the other side of them, and you are in the courtyard, and people are sort of milling about, and you are free to do whatever you please.
I just want to mutter, transport of a magical item, my ass. What did he expect us to do? Leave it in there? Oh, and
Who knows?
I'm fuming. I am so angry. I'm just huffing and walking about.
Well,
and now
we
we
have
have to go see a damn king for no reason.
we have a task to do. We'll do it.
I suggest one of you three do the talking. I don't think I'll be able to hold my tongue.
Well, we better go do our thing.
Right, I think that's where we'll leave it for this week.
Yep. Cool.
All right.
Very good. Bradley was the highlight of the
Yeah.
evening for me.
Yes,
If you
Bradley
hadn't made him so adorable, I passed.
It's also just as well that somebody to come in, because you would have had to do that voice for so long if we'd taken him with us.
That's the thing. Whenever you play with someone and they come up with a voice like that for a character, oh, he's gonna regret that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy enough to do.
It instantly becomes
it'll-
like a fan favorite. And, oh, get that guy back.
It'll be
Hopefully we
good.
can find the fighting pitch before we leave.
You'll pay him a visit, I'm sure.
I'm sure we'll see him again.
Very good.
I'm gonna train him to be a wizard.
We
Maybe
might
you're throwing
need
a
him to
soft
come and
spot.
rescue us.
Yeah, you never know.
He's our only
He-
friend
he
in
could-
town.
He could be your Deus Ex Machina right at the
Yes.
end. Three months from now when we're being bed, and all of a sudden you hear,
Don't worry, misters.
Here I
Stephen are coming. I'm here to serve the day.
and he rides in a Tarrasque into battle.
Throwing rats at people.
chucking. The only magic he learned, dead rat magic, just casting and summoning infinite hordes of dead rats.
Oh,
Right,
oh,
I'm writing this all down.
I'm
Hang
a
on.
host,
Yeah.
yeah. This is what they say as a DM. You don't have to write anything. Just let your players come up with most of the work, and then you fill.
And then you just fill in all the blanks. Exactly.
Well, you need to watch the stream back now because every time we've talked about Bradley, I've had an adorable little street urchin on the screen. So,
Oh, yes, I can see it.
Have you found Bradley then?
have you- who said they could
Oh
see?
my god, I hope that is him. I want him to look like that.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
What's the link
Well,
for it?
Get that picture in.
I'll post it on the chat soon. I mean, I can. Well, I'm about to shut down the Twitch, but I'll send you.
I just want to see what the damn street urchin looks like.
That is exactly what I was picturing while you. Well done.
How do I?
I went back onto the. I was still on the map from when I came up with the Prince of Canada idea. Which, honestly, I'm a bit upset that it didn't work.
I mean, it works, just not in the way that you wanted it to work.
Ooh.
Oh, he is cute. Look at him.
Yeah, that's a
I've
little
misspelt his name.
Too many teeth. Too clean.
with his little.
That's
I mean, yeah.
after.
That's his
This
after
is-
his
this
back.
is-
Yeah, that's
Oh,
after his
This will be
back.
the next time we see him. I see. Okay.
that-
Okay.
We can adopt him.
Yay! There's Steven.
Oh,
Oh, or is it Malcolm? I can't tell.
who knows?
Malcolm is the clean one.
There you go. He does look fairly respectable. All right. Hey, go well, mates.
Yes.
Nice
I'm
one,
going-
Alex. Thank you.
Talk to you
Thanks
soon.
Yes,
everyone.
thank you.
Yep, thank you.
I'm gonna
Bye.
Gonna
Bye.
go from being a dwarf here to a dwarf in World of Warcraft.
Yeah. I will let you guys do the talking to the king because it feels like we're talking to wizards. There's only me saying anything.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, because you're the wizard.
It worked out so well last time.
Yeah.
All right. See
Okay.
you next time.
Good night.
See y'all.
Good night.
Bye.